We are going to throw everything back at repelling COVID-19 that we have.
Happening right now at 6 o'clock, Governor Eric Holcomb's stay-at-home executive order just hours from taking effect.
And more than 350 people have tested positive for the coronavirus here in Indiana. 13 people have died across the country. There are more than 51,000 coronavirus cases. More than 660 people have died.
We have live team coverage tonight on the governor's stay-at-home order and how state and local police plan to enforce it. But we want to begin with our Richard Essex, who was at the governor's press conference earlier today. Richard, what's the very latest?
Well, every day until further notice, there will be some type of briefing out of the State House. Today, Governor Holcomb said that the state is asking for federal assistance. The front line of this pandemic is just starting to reveal itself here in Indiana. The governor is asking for the federal government to stop the partisan bickering and get to work. Dr. Chris Box, the commissioner of the Indiana Department of Health, says the number of positive cases has been on the increase. He says 13% of the people tested are positive. More than half of the patients that have tested positive for the COVID-19 virus are from Marion County. A donation from the Eli Lilly Foundation will allow the state and Marion County health departments to set up a separate facility to care for the homeless that test positive for the virus. The location of the facility has not been released. Today, the state opened a call center to handle questions about the executive order. It was overwhelmed. The Department of Workforce Development took 38,000 phone calls from people with questions about unemployment. Governor Holcomb says now is the time for Hoosiers to hunker down.
What we did yesterday was very important, but more important than the what is the why. We are going to throw everything back at repelling COVID-19 that we have. And that calls us all to the same place.
Indiana State Police say that they will enforce the stay-at-home order, but they are looking for the most flagrant violators at first. Now, there is legislation that is sitting on the governor's desk that would affect the relationship between renters and landlords, and that could take away some of the rights that renters have. I asked the governor today if he had signed that legislation. He says as of right now, he has not. In downtown Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Wish TV, News 8.
Richard, thank you very much. In about 6 hours, life for millions of Hoosiers will change, at least temporarily, at 11:59 p.m. tonight. Unless you work for an essential business or doing essential activities, you must stay home. It's all part of Governor Eric Holcomb's stay-at-home order as we fight the coronavirus. News 8's David Williams reports.
Marlon Reed has no choice but to close his Northside Indianapolis barbershop tonight because of the stay-at-home order.
A lot of us, this is how we eat, this is how we live, day-to-day basis on cash money. So, but I know we got to take precautions.
In the fight against COVID-19, Governor Eric Holcomb has ordered all non-essential businesses statewide, including Marlowe's, to temporarily shutter until April 6th at 11:59 p.m.
It's kind of scary, but, I guess we got to do what, the order to do.
The stay-at-home order is mandatory and applies to the entire state to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus.
And that is driven us to restrict travel to only essential personnel, people that have essential jobs or people that need to go out to get groceries or medications at the pharmacy, things like that.
You will be allowed to go outside for a walk or run, and you're encouraged to stay 6 feet away from others. IMPD tells News 8 they'll first focus on educating people about the order and how to stay healthy. IMPD said if a situation requires enforcement to protect the public, a citation may be issued. Back in the barbershop, Reed will tell you his work is essential. For now, he's trying to keep a smile and focus on the positive things. In Indianapolis, I'm David Williams, Wish TV, News 8.
David, thank you very much. We're learning more about how the state plans to enforce the stay-at-home order. I-teammate Stephanie Zeppelin has the very latest straight from State Police, Stephanie.
Phil, we just got this memo which ISP Superintendent Doug Carter sent out to the rest of Indiana State Police and is sharing with police and prosecutors throughout the state. Carter clarifies what travel is still permitted anything related to essential activities, travel to care for vulnerable people, older people, people with a disability, going to educational institutions to get food, so if you have to go to your child's school for food pickup, or supplies for distance learning. It also allows anyone who lives outside Indiana to drive back home, and travel required by a court order, like driving your children to your partner's house or ex-partner's house to comply with a custody agreement. Superintendent Carter says law enforcement will use their discretion in enforcing this.
While law enforcement officers have enormous powers afforded to them by our Constitution and state statutes, we must and we will use discretion with any enforcement during this unprecedented time.
The memo also mentions the governor's carry-out-only executive order. It says anyone who violates that or the stay-at-home order can be charged with a Class B misdemeanor. That can carry a prison sentence of up to 180 days and a fine of up to $1,000. Another example of a Class B misdemeanor is public intoxication. Stephanie Zeppelin, ITV8.
Stephanie, thank you very much. The local medical lab says they can have coronavirus test results within 2 days. Their test has already found patients testing positive for the virus in our area.
But as News 8's Travis Robinson found out, they can't do much with the test unless doctors actually know it's available.
ARIA Diagnostics has 3,000 of these tests available, and they can do up to 5,000 tests a day. But they haven't seen anywhere near 5,000 people come through their drive-thru in the time that they've had these available. ARIA Diagnostics developed a CDC-compliant test for COVID-19 in the last several weeks. The test only takes up to 48 hours to get results, but the CDC only started allowing private commercial labs to do testing as early as last week. With the volume of tests they have available, they expected to be swamped with people coming to get tested, but the staff administering the tests says they've maybe seen close to 50 people come through in the last 2 days they've been testing. Not just anybody can drive up to the lab and get tested. Everyone through there needs to be referred by a physician. For that to happen, ARIA says they need to get the word out to physicians.
Whether they decide to test a patient or not has been from a position of scarcity because there weren't enough tests out there. The test kits themselves weren't available. Now we have plenty of test kits, thousands of test kits, and the capacity to do thousands of tests since the CDC allowed commercial labs to do it. So I'd strongly urge physicians to reevaluate the protocol because now we can test. So instead of testing or deciding the protocol from a position of scarcity, to test based on a protocol of a desire to test everybody so we can mitigate the risk of this coronavirus growing and spreading.
ARIA Diagnostics says they're still trying to let physicians know that they're available for testing. So if you think you need a test and you'd like to refer your physician to ARIA, go on to our website. We'll have the resources available at wishtv.com. I'm Travis Robinson, Wish TV News 8.
Travis, thank you very much. Just for some peace of mind, though, with that test, ARIA Diagnostics is an independent medical lab with a CILA certification from the state. That means all of their testing and clinics need to follow the state's guidelines. The state health department says it makes biannual checkups on certified labs to ensure that they're doing things reliably, accurately, and timely.
And our coverage of the coronavirus continues online right now. There, we've created a special section full of everything you need to know, including the latest on the stay-at-home order, the government's response, and much more. It's all online at wishtv.com.